We're back. It's day number 2 of the 2024 PDGA Masters World Championships taking place in Emporia, Kansas, brought to us by Dynamic Discs. Different format for you guys today. I'm catching up with the MP50 lead card as they're heading from hole 7 over to 8 at Champions Landing. We're going to bounce around, catch a handful of shots and a handful of holes, and then give you ultimately a recap from this MP50 lead card. Brian Schweberger is 1 under through the first 7 holes. Not biting off too much, but finding himself in the center of the fairway. This is Sergio Celis, who hails out of Arizona. Playing pretty consistent so far today, battling the winds. He's even through the front 7. We know hole 8 has taken some lunch money from plenty of players, regardless of division, over the last couple of years. Yeti, Jay Redding, sits 1 over and certainly pushes to that right side, but he's going to be safe. And Schultz, Barry Schultz that is, 2-time world champ in MPO and 3-time Masters world champion. One of the greatest to play the game. Going to mix it up with a few of our shots. As I said, I'm not going to give you every single shot or every single hole, as Jay was out of bounds with his second off to the left-hand side. Schwebby said if that clears the hill, he's really going to like it. Well, he did on both accounts. He cleared it and he liked it. One of the smoothest throwers in the game, Barry Schultz. Just going with a mid, playing for the position and the control. After the out-of-bounds stroke, Yeti has this left. And ultimately, that's going to come in underneath the tree, skip up, and give him a look to save the par. I have not met Sergio prior to today. He said I interviewed his son a few years ago for doing some amazing work and picking up an ace at a tournament. But great to see Sergio. Pretty impressive to see him on this lead card. Not to take anything away from him, but these are 3 Hall of Famers and we'll say household names. Sergio saying, I'm right here, I'm ready to go. Significant increase in the winds from what we saw on the previous day. This group played out at the Kansas View course yesterday. Playing Champions Landing today. They'll be out at Kansas tomorrow. And then back at Champions Landing for their 4th round. Big fist pump. Sergio runs in the birdie. That'll get him to 1 under for today's round. Don't be fooled by the flags. We've learned that in previous events out here. Those are not lightweight flags. I believe the term is nautical flags. So they take a lot more wind than a typical flag in order for them to move. And trust me, the wind is out there today. So to see them still not moving is honestly quite surprising. It must be just this pocket of where hole 8's green sits, as Schwebby ultimately will clean up for the par. Schultz in for the birdie after Jay is in for par. We're in the fairway of 9. That's how close Sergio is to staying in bounds. He's in. Unfortunately, Yeti is not. So he's throwing his third. This one's still up and around the corner. Schultz was also out of bounds. He too throwing his third. Much more aggressive line than what we just saw from Yeti. Schultz will be safe, and now Schwebe, who went out of bounds. No, excuse me. Schwebe stayed in bounds. Got to make sure that turns the whole way, and it does. If that somehow stables up, he's going to find the out-of-bounds line off to the left. But great shot by Schweberger. Sergio did go out of bounds. And now that has too much cut to it. It's going to go roll up on top and ultimately find OB. Johnny McRae had started his round on fire through the first 8 holes, came up to hole number 9 about a half hour before these gentlemen, and ultimately walked away with a quadruple bogey, putting quite a halt on the run he was having. We'll check in with him come hole 16. Yeti loved just the right amount of touch. Schultz comes in short and is going to leave himself with a little bit of work. And Yeti really had no idea that when he came in on the left side, it actually popped up off of a tree and then rolled out of bounds, which creeps in very close on that right side. So he's going to be looking at a possible big number here. Schultz limits the damage to the bogey, so he's back to even par through 9 holes. Yeti moves to 2 over with the bogey. Schwebe, a chance to save the par. More importantly, pick up strokes on his card mates and most of the field. And you see the flag ripping now. The concentration pays off. Schwebe, a par. 1 under through the front 9. And Sergio will pick up the double bogey. It's going to give a few back to the card. They move on to hole 10. Par is good on hole number 10. In fact, looks as if almost everyone in the entire field took the par 4 here. We'll give you a few looks at some beautiful tee shots. A very different form you see from such icons in our game. Schwebe, of course, just cresting 400 wins recently. Barry Schultz, one of the greatest to ever play the game. Yeti, along with his wife, Des, creating the educational disc golf experience, and he's got at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7, I don't know, a bunch of titles when it comes to the world putting competition. Unfortunately, that was canceled earlier in the week due to the weather. And Sergio rounding out our card. Let's check in. This is last year's champion, He told me after round 1 he had no chance to repeat. Here he is on the 16th. Oh, and it barely skips in. He gets the green flag. Big smiles for Chris. Taking a deep sigh of relief. The card loves it. Oh, wait, but do they? I check back in with them, and I see there's a long conversation, a very lengthy conversation, in fact. And when it's all said and done, he was inbounds. John Drummond, who I grew up watching and playing against, making his MP50 debut. Drummond, one of the longest throwers to ever throw a Frisbee in Wisconsin, gets the birdie on the island. Oh, come on. You got to get the selfie. Frame it up just right. Some things, it doesn't matter what age you are. You do something magical like pick up the birdie on 16, even when you're pushing the age of 50, that deserves a selfie. Johnny McRae, multiple-time world champ, trying to find the island, hoping it hit the back, but it doesn't. Now we catch up with Chad Larson. He's on the 16th. Is this basket hunting? Pretty good shot. He ultimately would go on to par from there. And we get back with our card. This is our lead card. You see the scores haven't changed drastically in the last 5 or 6 holes. Schultz. Short. He'll head to the drop zone. When we left Schwebe, he was at 11 under, so sits at 13 under a few holes later. Hits the island. Schwebe in business, trying to extend his lead. Sergio. Pulls it right. Can he get it to hook up? It's got the distance, and he's inbounds. Direct headwind ripping at us right now. Yeti says, I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm just laying this one up. Layups. As he says, there's that. Layups aren't even easy off the tee of 16. Schultz contemplates. Can he save the par? They've moved the drop zone closer compared to what we saw at the Dynamic Disc Open, and Schultz says, I'm going to play it smart. Probably breaks his heart. One of the greatest putters ever in Yeti says, he's not even going to go after it. I don't want it. It's going to be a bogey. Good bid, but Sergio is short. Schwebe, an opportunity to extend his lead, picking up at least 1 or 2 on everyone else on the lead card for the birdie. Easy to be scared. So we'll see a couple of bogeys, a par, and a couple of pars. Let me know if you guys like this style at all, just kind of bouncing around, not giving you necessarily every hole. This gives you a quick recap of how the day is going down. This is our MP50 division. 24 divisions in total. Lots of world champs to be crowned right here at Champions Landing come Saturday. Schwebe hunting down his first world title still. tee of 18. Good positioning for Schwebe. Can Yeti fight himself back to a 1 over effort? Currently sitting on 2 up. He yells to me, asks me if that's in bounds, and I give him the safe symbol. Normally don't like to get involved when it comes to our rules calls. But that one I was pretty comfortable with, and he was asking, so I figured I'd give him the good news. So smooth. Sergio. Center of the fairway, wide open look to the pin. Looking to close out strong, secure himself a spot on the lead card, heading into the 3rd round. Schultz clips some of the trees, but still fights through almost the exact same distance to the pin as what Sergio is. Great insight from Schwebe. 306 to the basket, 329 to the back wall. Thinking ahead 48 hours from now, they'll be back here trying to close out their 4th round. Not sure we'll have more wind, if that's even possible. By this time, it's Wednesday afternoon, we're learning of a heat advisory for Thursday's rounds, for the 3rd round between 1 and 8 p.m. So all competitors will have to take that into account, regardless of the course they're at. Schwebe on the green, safe. He'll have a look for one final birdie. Can he get to 4 under on the round? Well, 25 feet closer for Yeti, and he puts himself out in a similar position. Sergio and Schultz, almost the exact same distance to the pin, at least 25, maybe even 35 or 40 feet closer to the pin than what we just saw out of Yeti. Big moment. Wind pushing it down, but puts himself inside the circle comfortably. Schultz also sitting at 2 over on the day. Puts it up much higher, more angle, and almost throws it in for eagle. Schultz will have a birdie look. Not enough height for Yeti. Clean scorecard for the most part from Schweberger, trying to close it out with a birdie, and won't be the case. So Schwebe, after 2 rounds of golf at the World Championships, is at 13 under, assuming he makes his short comeback putt. Barry Schultz vying for his world title, what would be his 4th Masters world title. And in for the birdie. Schultz goes to 6 under as a total. So 1 up on today's effort. After the round, Barry's feedback to the PDGA marshal that was available said this course is at our upper limits for MP50 players in terms of distance. This is a course that may be better suited for MPO caliber players. Well, that's what I'm going to say. But he says as an MP50 player, this pushes the limits and maybe even then some, which is incredible to hear because Barry Schultz, I think, is still one of the smoothest, best throwers in the game and has been playing for a lot of years, and I trust his judgment. So certainly good feedback. Schwebe closes out with a par. He's going to be your leader at 13 under. He's heading into day number 3. A little moving and shaking going on here in the MP50 division, as Yeti's going to slam it home. Thank you guys for watching. Little entertainment. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. If you're looking for shot-by-shot coverage, that's on the PDGA media page. FP40 and MP40 action is all there. I'll pick another division. I'll give you guys some more action tomorrow or something else going on here at the tournament. We're going to close out with what I'm calling my shot of the day, Justin McLuhan on 16. I didn't capture a lot of shots today, but this one is my shot of the day. A park job. Nice work, Justin. Thanks for joining. That's all from the Disc Golf Guy at the 2024 PDGA Masters World Championship. We're at Champions Landing, and we'll see you tomorrow.